Once again, thanks so much for joining. We'll get started in just a minute or so. Feel free to grab your phone and open up the First Conversations mobile app as we'll get started in just a couple minutes. Also, let me know if you guys can see my screen, the First Steps training session. Some of the screen sharing tools on here have been a little bit buggy lately, so let me know via the chat if you guys can see the screen. Thanks. Awesome. Thank you, Megan. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So welcome to the First Steps training session. At first here, we're all to help you unlock the value in your personal network. We differ from a lot of other technology companies in the real estate space. Before we get started, let's talk about, why. Why First? Why is First different than pretty much every other technology company in the real estate space? Then we're going to talk about building your database and how First helps you really bring together a personal network and how that can differ from a lot of your other parts of your database or maybe your CRM and how First can help you in a different way. We'll talk about understanding our seller stars, which is the way you know who to reach out to based on so many other factors that we pull together here. And our goal is to help you win more business through these people, through your starred contacts. We're going to tell you about adding your MLS number to the First Conversations mobile app, which basically allows you to see all the deals that you've won and deals that you've missed. And then we're going to give you a challenge towards the end of the presentation, and that is things that you can do today in the First Conversations mobile app that will basically get you going in the right direction. So why First? First helps agents win more listings and stop missing transactions from people that they already know. That's really something that makes us very, very different from a lot of the other technology companies out there in the real estate space. We are not a lead management tool. We are not necessarily a reproduction of your CRM, and we don't focus on sending mass, emails and things like that. What we are based on is helping you win business from people that you already know. It's highly likely that you win a good amount of business from your sphere, but I bet you we can help you win a lot more. So let's talk about how to win more with First. First is going to help you first build a more complete database of personal contacts. We're going to help you sync in your phone and your email into the First product. And what basically happens then is you're going to be able to update your phone or update your email anytime you have a new connection with a person. That connection is automatically going to be brought into First once that is synced. And then basically we're going to go ahead and add addresses and do all kinds of other great things with that new contact information. And we're going to let you know if how likely they are to move in the next 6 to 12 months. The other great thing about First is we're going to help you track listing potential and activity across your network. So yeah, we're going to do something that's a little bit painful. We're going to show you when you're losing deals. And these are deals from people that you already know. But we're also going to basically rank your contacts and let you know who is most likely to sell in the next 6 to 12 months via our star ratings. We'll talk about more about that in just a few minutes. And then lastly, we're going to help you prioritize your time and help you get in flow and start having these conversations with people in your network when it matters most. That's what all the features and all the little things in our product do. We help ensure that you don't forget about people that you shouldn't forget about. So let's talk about building your database. As I mentioned earlier, we handle lots of things in terms of working with your contacts. When you join the First app, you've likely already added your phone or your email contacts to the app. And if you've done it through the onboarding process, it's likely that you've synced those contacts with First. But what that means is when you add or talk to someone new on the phone, and you write their name in your phone, we're automatically going to pull that in to First for you. As you talk to someone new via email, we're automatically going to pull that person with that contact information into First for you. Not only are we going to do that, we're going to go ahead and do take our best shot at flagging as many real estate agents on your behalf as possible. We know it's really, really frustrating when real estate agents come up in all these other technology platforms, and it's not the people that you want to see. The people that you want to see are these prospects and people that have a likeliness to sell their home, not real estate agents. So we do our best to flag those so we don't present them to you, and we usually capture anywhere from 70 to 80% of those. But then we give you a tool to help you flag any additional ones. And then lastly, adding property. Not only do we do all those things, but when we pull contacts into First, we're going to go ahead and add property addresses to them as well. So that's what our product does. I should say that's part of what it does. That's the technology aspect. But when you pair your judgment with the technology, that's when you're going to get some incredible results. So we're going to bring all these contacts in, but in the app, you're going to be able to identify people you know and like, and people that you're most likely to talk to. You're going to be able to flag those missed agents, and then you're going to also be able to let us know when a property address that we've added is incorrect or maybe a little outdated. So when you pair this technology and judgment together, you end up having an incredible personal database. And you know what? The goal here is never to go in here and spend all of your time on organization. Organization is something that should happen naturally as you use the app. The focus here should always be on outreach. As you use the app, always think about who am I going to reach out to, this week, and set yourself a goal for that. And then as you use the app over time, you will do these little things very naturally that will help to keep your database even more organized. So focus on outreach, not organization. Now let's talk about our seller stars. Seller stars indicate how much more likely than average our household is to sell in the next year. So in the app, you'll see several lists and all over the place on contacts. You'll see stars, 3, 2, and 1 star ratings on contacts. And you're probably wondering, well, how does First decide who gets to have these stars? And what makes a 3-star person actually more likely to sell than a 1-star person or a no-star person? Well, I wish I had a really simple answer for you, but the truth of the matter is it's really complicated. We factor over 700 different data points it's all based on personal data, property data, and local data. And we put all that data into an algorithm, and then that basically trains based on what's happened in the past, people that have similar traits and similar life factors. So if you're seeing a 3-star contact, it's actually that person is significantly more likely to sell their home than a person without any stars at all. And you may be thinking, are you guys just looking on Zillow, like seeing who's looking on Zillow and Redfin and all those other places? The truth is that's actually not really what we're looking at. We're looking at lots of things like, hey, what size of home are they in? How long have they been there? Have they had an income increase? Has their family size changed? Do they own pets, etc.? So 700 different data points to basically go ahead and plop those star ratings on those contacts. So what does that all mean? We're going to go ahead and present to you contacts that are more likely to sell than the national average. And we're so confident in our model that we're actually willing to guarantee the success of it. So if you've uploaded 2,000 valid contacts, many of you think, I don't have 2,000 contacts. Believe it or not, most of you, between your phone and your email, you've already got them there. But if you have 2,000 valid contacts, we're guaranteeing that we're going to show you at least 15 predicted listings 2 months in advance over the next 12 months. Most of the time, that number is going to be significantly higher than 15, but that's just the baseline for the guarantee. Then once you're in the app, you'll see on the bottom of the home screen the ability to add your MLS number. This is the part where we're able to show you when you're missing listings. So adding your MLS number gives you real-time transaction data, and it shows you how well you're capturing the potential in your network. So we'll talk about that in just a minute once we get into the application. But this is what allows us to show you not only the deals you've won, because you probably know that, but also the amount of deals that you've missed and the total volume of those deals. And then you can pretty easily say, you know what? Wow, that's an extra $40,000 of commission that I lost there. Now, we're not trying to, create a stinging feeling necessarily, but we do want you to see that there are deals in your network from people that you know that you can win, and we're here to help you do that. And then personal network efficiency is something that you'll also see on the home screen of the app, and that's just basically letting you know how well are you winning, how good are you at winning deals that are in your network. And you know what? No one is expected to have 100% network efficiency. The goal is, hey, if this year you have a network efficiency of 20, next year let's work hard to make it 30 or 33%. So with that information, you basically have the power to know how well you're doing. And then lastly, we're about to jump in the app here, and I'll touch on this again once we're there. But I want everybody to take a challenge today, and that is to do these 3 things. We're going to try to add 3 people to your inflow list. These are people that you want to stay connected with, and we're going to go ahead and help you remember when it's time to reach out to those folks again. I'm going to ask you to add 2 people to your hot list. Right now, in the back of your mind, I am sure there are at least 1 or 2 or 3 people that in the last 6 months, have verbalized, you know what, I am thinking of moving, I am thinking of buying, I'm thinking about selling my home. The point is, if they verbalize that, let's put them in this hot list, because then we're going to help you remember to reach out to them so that you don't miss one of their listings, because it is the absolute worst feeling to drive by someone's house who mentioned to you that they were interested in moving 9 months ago and seeing that they in fact have someone else's sign in their yard. So let's try to avoid that from happening. And then lastly, we're going to help you customize or create one next step. And the next steps tool is a really great tool in our app. And basically, it's something that can just help you, A, remember to follow up with people, and B, help you remember to do any other small tasks that you have in your business. We all know that as time goes on, we hit these really busy time periods, and it's really hard, and we have like a jumbled mess of like 5 or 10 things in our head, and they're just kind of back there. But you know what? If we just document them and write them down in a certain place, we know we won't forget them. And First makes it really easy to do that, and it guarantees that you're not necessarily going to forget to do something really important. So Next Steps is great for follow-up and just for regular business tasks that you already try really hard to remember, but sometimes might forget. Cool. So let's go ahead and jump into the app. I realize I kind of went through the slides a little bit quickly, but that's because I think most of the value here is going to be us playing around in the app. So let me go ahead and switch so you can see that screen. Great. You guys should all be seeing my screen now. Cool. And let me just take one quick second. Awesome. So right now, you should be able to see the First Conversations mobile app. And I'd recommend everybody go ahead and pull out your phone and follow along with me. Because we're going to go through the basic functionality of the app, but more so help you understand how all these pieces work together and what you can do to win more business with First. And then obviously, if you guys have questions, please feel free to go ahead and ask them in the chat. I've got it pulled up here, so I may not answer it right away. I will if I'm able to, but at the end, we can definitely have a question and answer back and forth if you guys have something you'd like to ask. Cool. So you should be seeing the First app right now on my screen. And let's just talk about high level. What is the goal of First? The goal of First is always, always, always to help you reach out to people that you know. If you don't reach out to somebody, but you use all these other features, to be honest with you, you'll probably still be getting a little bit of value, but you won't be getting nearly the value that you would if you just began calling people. And in fact, talking to people is what First is all about. So focus on talking to people. So you may be asking, who should I be talking to? First has a couple different ways to let you know people that you should be prioritizing for outreach. You can see at the top of the app, we give you a few tiles, and we probably deliver anywhere from 3 to 5 tiles per week for you. So you can see this one right here. Find 2 people to get in flow with this week. In flow means, hey, first of all, it's part of a funnel down here, which I'll talk about in just a second. But it really means, you know what, this is a person that I want to keep in touch with. I want to reach out to them and build more of a relationship with. So let's go ahead in here and find 2 people to get in flow with. Now, there's probably a list of several people in here, and you may know everybody and you may not know everybody. You may only know a couple. But the point is, let's choose people to get in flow with. So the way you get in flow is you go ahead and find people that you'd like to reach out to. And if at any point in time you want to skip somebody, just slide them away. But I'm going to go ahead and get in flow with Justin here. And I'm going to skip Dan. And you know what, Victor, I am comfortable calling him. Excellent. And so now I'm in flow with him. And you can see my goal here was 2, and I've got 2 marked down at the bottom. So now if I go down here in the inflow contacts, these are all the people that in the past that I've said that I really want to be intentional about getting in flow with. Now, obviously, these are people that you've decided you want to talk to. So anytime you want to come and do work, the best work you can do is start talking to people. So come into your inflow list, and you can immediately go in and click on a contact, and you can see the phone number and text. I have the phone number for this contact, so it's allowing me to make a call or place a text. And you can see that they're in my inflow list. If I ever want to learn a little bit more about Victor, I can scroll down and see the address that first added. And if I want, while I'm here, yep, that address looks right. I'm going to go ahead and verify it. And that'll just make our database a little bit smarter over time. You can see any of the other information we have about Victor towards the bottom, such as phone numbers, additional email addresses, social profiles, etc. In the event that I don't want to see Victor anymore, I can go ahead and select this low priority contact. And that's going to prevent Victor from showing up in first recommendations. But because Victor is somebody that I know and it's a 3-star contact, I'm going to go ahead and leave him in here. But anyways, the point here is to always focus on outreach. In flow, we're going to help you remember to stay in flow with people once every 2 months. So in this next steps due area in the middle of the screen, it's kind of like your to-do list. It's your checklist. It's where we should look to see if there's anything upcoming that we should be doing or focusing on this week. So you can see based on my past activity, I have a few things due. I should be connecting with Jay and Pete and actually Zelda as well. So that's because about 2 months ago, I added them to my inflow list, and it's time for a connection again. Now you may be wondering, all right, that's how you get in flow with people. And this is where I see when it's time to go ahead and reach out. But what happens next? What about when I'm talking to someone and they tell me, you know what, we actually do have intention to list over the next 6 or 12 months. We're just not ready right now. Well, you know what? That is a hot contact. That is a person that you need to keep in the top of your mind because they will be listing. They will be selling. They will be moving. They'll be doing something that can earn that commission. So the hot list is where we put those folks. And you can see these lists work the exact same way. You can manually add a person to this list. So whether you're talking to them through First or just in your business, go ahead and put them in your list. So I'm going to go ahead and say I talked to David. David's actually my good buddy. I guess I don't have another David in here. Well, let's try Alex. Actually, I think it's just my internet's being very slow. Oh, there's Alex. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and add Alex. And there we go. We've added Alex to the hot list. Now, how's the hot list different from the inflow list? These people have intent to buy, sell, or list. They've mentioned it at some point in time. And because they're in the hot list, First is going to remind you once every 2 to 3 weeks that you should be considering them for follow-up. The best thing that you can do at that point is be reaching out on a regular basis. Now you see another section of this funnel, and that is the star list. We've got people who have intent to buy or sell, and they have verbalized that. We've got people who I've chosen in the inflow list, who I've chosen to go ahead and be more intentional about reaching out to. And then we've got another list here at the top called starred contacts. What is that list? Starred contacts is the list of basically all of your contacts that First thinks you should be looking into and prioritizing. It is not likely that you're going to know every person on this list. In fact, if you only know half of them, that's great. That's not something to be distracting, or that's not a negative thing. In fact, just focus on the people that you know. So for a starred contact, you know what, I could look in my recommendations, or I can look through this list and say, you know what, Todd, I have not talked to Todd in a while. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I continue reaching out to him. Sorry, our internet is very, very slow right now. So I'm going to go ahead and put him in my inflow list. And you can see that. There we go. They're in my inflow list. And now I shouldn't be, worried about following up with him or reaching out, or worried about when to follow up, because now they're in my inflow list. I'm going to be reminded when it's time. So we've got these organizational tools to make sure you don't forget about people. We've got your to-do list items. And then we've got up here an exploratory way to find people and improve your database. Now, let's scroll down to the bottom. This is where, if you haven't already added your MLS number, you'll probably see a little button here that says, hey, go ahead and add your MLS number so we can go ahead and start showing you deals that you've won and missed in your network. Well, I've already added my number, and you can see the results are pretty astonishing. Sure, I've won 20 deals this year, and I'm feeling pretty good about that. But you know what? I really wish I would have won 25. But look at the missed deals. I've missed 31 deals this year, and you can see that in this chart. The number of deals that I missed versus I won, and the volume of those 31 deals, that's incredible. If I go ahead in here and click on the missed deals section, it's going to show me all the people that I know, the people in my phone contacts, in my email. But these are the people that I talk to that have actually sold or listed this year. So first of all, knowledge is power. It's pretty cool to be able to go in here and see this information, because there's no other product on the market that shows you when people you know are actually listing. But we're also using this to go ahead and help you understand that there are deals in your network that you can win. And we're going to help you prioritize and find those deals with these starred contacts, both in the list and the ones that we recommend up here. So let's talk about network efficiency. So you can see I've won 20 deals this year, and I've missed 31. So if we add those together, that's 51 deals total. So I've won about 39% of those 51 deals. So you can see my goal here is to get to 45% by the end of the year, or 50%. Whatever goal you want to set a goal for yourself. And then we're going to go ahead and help you achieve that goal. So that is my deals and network efficiency. I see we have a question that came in about that. Let's see. Let me close out our team name. Is there a way to add deals specifically? Okay, so Megan's on a team, and the MLS number that she's using does not necessarily reflect my real sales as we close them out under our team name. So in the event that you are maybe working under multiple MLS IDs, oftentimes teams have 5 or 6 agents, and then there's a team lead, and there are probably a couple different MLS IDs being used. You can very easily go ahead and add an additional ID by clicking the edit button in the Deals in My MLS screen. Clicking that button will allow you to remove the one that you've already added, or it'll let you add a new ID. This way you can see deals that are coming in from any of the IDs that you work in. I'm going to keep on going. Megan, let me know if that answers your question. But let's go ahead and talk about the next tab on the bottom of the screen, which is Next Steps. You can see I have a slew of next steps that I have due. Hopefully yours doesn't look quite like this, but if it is, All it means is it's time to take action. It's time to win some business and it's time to make some calls. So you can see, because I have people in my inflow and hot list, it's letting me know that, you know what, it's time to reach out. And it's up to me to go ahead and hit that connect button and make it happen. Keep in mind, I can also connect anytime from that contact detail page that I showed you earlier by clicking the call, text, or email button at the top. Now, let's say, you know what? Next Steps is great because it helps me remember to reach out to people that I'm finding in first. But I want to remember something that I just need to do next week so I don't forget it. This button, this plus button in the top right corner, go ahead and click that. Let's say send John a CMA. And you know what? I need to remember to do this next week because I promised him I would. So I click next week. And then I can even add a contact, John. There we go. And if I go ahead and add it, then we'll see John all of a sudden shows up in my list. Where is he here? Oh, there he is. Send John a CMA. So next week, when it's time for me to send John a CMA, 7 days from now, I'm going to get a notification and an indicator on my First Conversations app saying that it's time to send John a CMA. So not only is it great for helping you understand when you're supposed to reach out to people that you interacted with in first, but also we're going to help you not forget those little things that are often in the back of your mind. And let's go over to the Network tab. This is the third tab in the bottom right corner of the app. The Network tab shows you basically all the stats of your network and all the things that First has done for you thus far. So in the properties section at the top, we go ahead and show you the properties that were added by you. Now, you may have added thousands of contacts, but usually only a couple % of those contacts actually come over with physical addresses through your phone and through your email. So First goes ahead and adds property addresses for you. And you can see in this case, First added over 1,600 addresses to this account. I verified 14 properties. That basically means, if you remember correctly, we saw the picture of the house. Let's see here. If we go into the contact screen and we see a house there and it says, does Justin live here? Yes, he does live here. Or if the answer is no, I'm going to go ahead and update it here. That's an investment home. He doesn't live there. That just helps me fine tune the database over time and helps our recommendations get smarter. But you can see now verified properties is 15. We do not recommend making a whole day or week out of verifying property. That's not what this is about. You can verify a property as you come across a contact, as you see one that you'd like to correct or verify as correct. But don't think that that is the main goal of this app. The main goal of this app is to help you focus on outreach. You can see in the social profile section, the number of profiles that First added for you. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter profiles. This is awesome because now I can go ahead and look in many of my contacts, click the social button, and see what they're up to. That's great for conversation starters. That's great for seeing what's going on in their life. And it makes those touches, whether it's a text, call, or an email, a little bit warmer. And then as we scroll down, we see the contacts section. This section is basically a summary of the contacts that have been added to First. So this account actually has over 4,000 already. And First went ahead and removed the duplicates, which is 280 of them. And then we have all of these awesome little tags. Remember when I told you that First would go ahead and try to identify as many real estate agents as possible? The agents button at the top goes ahead and shows me all of the agents that First identified. And anytime I identify one, it gets added to that list. These are all tags. So if there's someone that refers me a lot of business, they would show up in my referrers list. Or if there's somebody that I don't want to see very often, it would show up in my low priority contacts. Now you might be asking, how do I mark these people as these things? How do I tag these people? Well, anytime you are viewing a contact profile, we see these labels. So a low priority contact, that person will now show in the list. These notes, I recommend using notes. This is sort of a side point. I recommend using notes anytime you actually go ahead and reach out to somebody. Jot down a note so you remember what you talked about. What we find is a lot of agents have CRMs but don't actually use them the way they're supposed to. So we're trying to put just the basic functionality that you actually need into an app so you can use it. Let's go back over to the network tab. So those are the labels. Agents, remove contacts, low priority contacts. That's how you indicate when a contact is one of those. You just label it on their profile. And then down below, we have the import sources. If you're ever wondering, where did all these contacts actually come from? Well, you can see up here, this is a CSV file that I actually sent into First. And by the way, you can send a CSV file into First by just sending it to a very specific email address, which is realtordata@first.io. And I can mention that again towards the end of the presentation. But otherwise, we're just going to pull in your phone and your email contacts. And then down here, let's see Andy's phone. This is one of my coworkers' phones whose contacts were uploaded to the account. It's just a good way to know, what contacts came from where. And you can see the contacts on this phone actually weren't added to this account yet. I could very easily add contacts to this account by clicking that import button. So the network tab is basically a summary or a glossary of everything that's happening behind the scenes. And you can go ahead and see the statistical numbers around that. The Next Steps tab helps you understand what it is that you should be doing at any given time, whether it's connecting with people that you put in your inflow or hot list, or whether it's keeping those little tiny tasks that you had in the back of your mind that you jotted down into First. We're going to help you to remember to do those things when it's time. And then your home screen. At the top, we help give you some tasks to look we give you recommendations of people to look through so you can decide if you want to go ahead and reach out to them. We remind you to do your next steps. We show you next steps on the home screen. We've got your funnel down here, which shows you all of your starred contacts, and then you can see at any time your list of inflow and hot. And then we've got your network efficiency with the total deals won and missed at the bottom. And last but not least, anytime you run into somebody, whether it's somebody at work or somebody at an open house, and you want to go ahead and make sure that they're in First, go ahead and click the search button. Type in somebody's name, and you can see if they're there. And if they're not there, you can click that Add a Contact button and make sure they're in First. If you give us enough information, we're going to go ahead and try to add an address for them and then see if they're likely to buy or sell. So, if you can remember from a few minutes ago, I gave everybody a challenge. And that challenge was to add a few people to your inflow contacts list. So let's find some people from the top, whether it's here in your recommendations, or even if it's just going through your start contacts. Let's find a couple people to get in flow with. These are people that we want to be more intentional about reaching out to. So maybe we can build that relationship. Maybe we can, just catch up over coffee, whatever. Regardless, we want to get in flow with them. One second here. There we go. Sorry, our internet is very, very slow today. Well, we'll let that load. But the last thing, the next thing was the hot list. In the middle of that home screen, we want you to go ahead and think of who are three people that have mentioned that they have intent to buy or sell in the next 6 months. We've all got those people on the top of our heads. Let's go ahead and put them in the app so we make sure we don't lose those deals. And then lastly, next steps. Let's go ahead and create 1 or 2 next steps. These are things that you need to do this week or next week, but you got to make sure you don't forget, or that you wouldn't mind a reminder on. Let's go ahead and create a next steps by hitting that plus button in the top right corner. So let's add some people to inflow. Let's add some people to your hot list, and let's set some next steps, because you're going to be reminded when it's time for any of these things to come due. And this is how you use First. It's not an organizational tool. It has organizational features, but this is made for outreach. And that is how you're going to win more business using First, which is outreach, which is talking to your starred contacts. Let's see, we got a couple questions that rolled in, and I encourage you, if anybody has questions, go ahead and send them to the Zoom webinar chat. Donna asked, can I add contacts from my company's email address? Yes, you definitely can. I see you are at App Properties, which is great. So you basically just need to know what server or what mail system you're using. Sometimes that's Outlook or Gmail or whatever. But once you know that, basically go ahead and on your network tab, you can click add email account right here at the bottom. And then you can go ahead and add that email address and then select basically what company is hosting that email. And then we're going to go ahead and import all of those contacts. Any other questions about First, how to use it? Any questions about the star ratings or the My Deals section at the bottom? All right. Well, if there are no other questions, I'll hang on the line here just in case a couple more come through. But if there are no other questions, I just wanted to say thank you so much, for being a part of the First family, but also for joining the webinar. We are very, very keen on education. Like, we want you guys to win. The only way that we win is if you win. And we know, we are actually positive that by reaching out to your starred contacts, you will win more business this year. So set yourself a goal. How many are you going to talk to each week? Can you talk to 3 starred contacts each week that you wouldn't have talked to otherwise? Because we guarantee you, you will win business that way. So again, my name is David. Feel free anytime you have questions about the app or about what you're seeing or the experiences, or if you just need help, go ahead and contact us at success@first.io. We usually are able to respond within a single day, within 24 hours. But go ahead and message us, and we want to make sure you're on the right track. Set yourself a goal. See how many people you can talk to this week before the weekend. That's how you're going to win. So thank you guys very much. I'll stay on for just a few moments, but let me know if you have any questions, or you can message our team anytime. Everybody have a great day and an awesome holiday weekend. Hey, Donna, if you have questions, you can send an email to success. I'm going to go ahead and write it in here. success@first.io. Anybody can use that email address, and we will go ahead and get a response back to you, usually within a day. You're welcome, Donna. And I saw a question from earlier from B. Jackson. You uploaded some contacts, but you still have a 0% network efficiency. If you very recently added contacts to your MLS, basically that's going to take a little bit of time to populate on that home screen. In the event that you don't see something in the next day or so, feel free to message us, but usually that takes a little bit of time for us to bring those deals in and calculate that information out.